everybody, welcome back to the Resistance broadcast. I'm John. Thank you for joining us on this glorious Monday. It is April 5th. We are in the month of April already, 2021. It's crazy that this year is cruising along, but at least we have some Star Wars news to talk about. A lot of stuff came out this past week. One thing from our end that we want to remind everybody, this past Thursday we announced that we are going to be bringing back Make Solo 2 Happen Day this year on Monday, May 24th. We're going to do it again. Is it the last time? We're not sure, but we're going to come bigger than ever, and we're already starting some planning behind the scenes. So make sure you mark your calendars, though. May 24th. All you have to do is show up and be part of that community that wants to see more Han and Chewie, more of the stories that were left open-ended at the end of Solo, and use the hashtag #MakeSolo2Happen on all of your social media platforms. So again, Monday, May 24th is the day we're going to be doing that. So that's where we're at with that. In terms of what we got going on today, a lot of cool stuff. James and Lacey with me as always. James rocking the Thrawn hoodie today.
Oh, yeah.
No man, no myth, no legend. Just Thrawn.
Yeah.
Just Thrawn doing his thing.
Yeah. With
he may
slightly red eyes.
He may be a legend if we finally see him popping up in live action soon, I guess. But do you have a preference on who you'd want to play Thrawn? Or are you just kind of like the voice guy, or do you kind of just like whoever they give to me?
Yeah,
that'll be my Thrawn. And
yeah, no preference. Yeah. I think a lot of people do stick with characters like that do the voices and other things like that. But
Lars,
yeah,
right?
For me, I wouldn't care either way. It's not going to stick out to me one way or the other.
Yeah, right on. Lacey, you getting excited that we're gonna be trying to get Solo to happen again?
Yeah, I love Make Solo 2 Happen Day. I'm gonna be sad once we make it happen and we don't have it anymore.
Yeah.
There's gonna be a void. We're gonna have to do something else.
I know. Or we're just gonna have a big bash once it does happen. But yeah, no, I'm super excited. It's just a really fun day. For the past 2 years, it's been a great day where all the fans get together and just talk about what they love about Solo. And it's not demanding, and we're not telling people what to do. It's just, hey, you want to join us? Join us. If you don't, that's okay too, because not everybody agrees. But it's just more of a celebration, and it lets the people know that worked on the project that we really, really enjoy it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. And you could tell, there's always that trepidation about, are people, trying to sabotage it and that sort of thing, but also,
or take advantage of a fan movement that's just supposed to be a fun thing. Yeah.
Or just like the affiliating it with things that maybe aren't necessarily from a good place, and we see that happen in other, fan movements and stuff like that. But I think, if the past two Make Solo 2 Happen days have shown, it really is just something that puts the community together, and a lot of people rally around it. And usually if people don't like it, they're pretty polite about it and they stay away, and that's fine, But it's always a feel good. Like, I remember walking out of those days both times. The first one especially, just because we were just so floored by what happened.
We had no idea, yeah.
Just heading to the live cantina last year after last year's one, and we did that little celebration for it, and just like blown away by how much bigger it was last year. And we'll see what happens this year. Again, I'm not going in with any expectations. I still feel the same way. You guys still feel the same way, that we just want to see those guys back and working for Jabba and all that stuff. So we're gonna keep the flame going as Jonas Sotomo himself told us to. So more on that, though. On Thursday, we're going to put a call to action out there for you, so be sure to tune into Thursday's episode. We have some ways for you to get involved in a pretty big way for Make Solo 2 Happen, so we're excited for that. So tune in on Thursday for that. But, James, a lot came out. A lot of Star Wars news, some real stuff. So let's fire up the burners in the Resistance Report.
It's the Resistance.
Oh wow, you're right, John. I mean, we were kind of worried in a way that we might not have things to talk about during the week, and then it's so funny. Like, two really big pieces of news drop, like one right after the other. The first one, of course, being the main cast of Obi-Wan Kenobi. The series has been revealed, so I'm gonna run through them really quick and give a little account of where maybe some of these people, you may have seen them before. Obviously, we're starting off with Ewan McGregor and Hayden Christensen. We obviously know where those two come from. and stuff they've done. Next up on the list is Moses Ingram, most notably from The Queen's Gambit recently. Not a lot under her belt, but a big one right there. Joel Edgerton and Bonnie Piesse both returning, right? So we got Owen and Beru, which we'll probably get into it. I know John has something to say about that, about those particular characters showing back up and what that means. Kumail Nanjiani, he is from probably most notably The Big Sick, where he not only starred in the movie but also wrote it. It's a true life story, very well received, very good comedian and actor.
It's him and his wife. It's their story.
Yep.
Yeah.
Indira Varma has been in lots of stuff. She was actually kind of leaked, if you will, recently, so we kind of discussed that. She was in Exodus, Gods and Kings, also in the HBO series Rome back in the day. Big
Game of Thrones
show. Game of Thrones as well. Rupert Friend is the star of Hitman Agent 47, so that kind of gives you
he's Mr. Wickham in Pride and Prejudice.
Yeah, that as well. He's in 2017's Death of Stalin too. Good comedy featuring John, who's your guy with the eyes that you always throw in for
Buscemi?
yeah.
The guy with the eyes.
The guy with the eyes. Everybody knows him as the guy with the eyes.
James, we gotta enter some charade tournaments. We would crush.
O'Shea Jackson Jr., obviously Ice Cube's son from Straight Outta Compton. Obviously in a bunch of other movies as well, some comedies. Ingrid Goes West, Godzilla King of the Monsters, Long Shot, with Seth. I can't think of his name right now.
Rogen.
But, Rogen, yeah, Seth Rogen. Sung Kang, me and Lacey are stoked. Han from Fast and Furious. Yeah, he's been cast in this. Excited for that. Simone Kessel is right now on the show that's on Netflix called Reckoning. So you can check that out. She was also in San Andreas. That's another big movie that you might have seen her in. And then finally, but of course not last but not least, if you will, Benny Safdie, who was in the movie as an actor, Good Time, but he is most notably probably as the second half of the Safdie brothers, who are known for their directorial features. So that's Uncut Gems and, of course, Good Time, like I just mentioned. So there might even be some behind-the-scenes stuff going on with that particular person. But now I've talked a lot. Let's get into it. John, I'm going to start with you on this one. Any one of these people pop out? This was big news. What are you thinking?
Yeah, so Kumail Nanjiani, for sure. I thought that was surprising, interesting, because I know he's kind of getting in with the Marvel deal with
Eternals.
Eternals. Apparently he's all like jacked now, and that's a big deal for people. So maybe he's playing a physical role. Maybe he's going to be somebody involved in some of the action sequences, but who knows? That's obviously an insane, wildly speculation point of view there, but. I like him. I love The Big Sick. I thought that was great. The guy has chops, and I think it's certainly a nice fan favorite pick to bring into this story. And what's so funny is we don't know the story.
Yeah,
we know the era, we know who it's going to be about, and probably what they're going to cover. But there's no details about what this story is. So this is all just kind of face value, evaluating talent here. And also, of course, like I said last time, Indira Varma, I really enjoyed her in Game of Thrones. She is certainly a dynamic personality. She could be a big presence depending on the type of role she plays. But the two big ones for me are the returns of Joel Edgerton and Bonnie Piesse as Owen and Beru. I think it was kind of one of those things where people can easily do the cult to culture element and say they expected them back. I mean, we had an article back in 2017 where we were pulling bits from old Joel Edgerton interviews of him saying he would love to play Owen again.
You were the first person, honestly, that I heard bring that up.
It was, yeah. I mean, he was not shy about saying he wanted to play the role again once he heard the whispers of an Obi-Wan project being made.
Yeah.
He even went as far as to say he had ideas of types of sequences they could have, that they could fight. He had all these ideas. So he was not shy at all about
face.
it. Yeah. You know what? I would not be surprised if something like that happens in this show and Obi-Wan plays the passive role and that sort of thing. But so them being back it ties it to the prequels, which is a great thing. It establishes that continuity. And the most important thing is, to me, it guarantees we're getting a 10-year-old Luke Skywalker in this series. Now, a lot of people said, we're getting this Obi-Wan. It's right in this era. Luke exists. Obi-Wan knows he exists. When they meet in A New Hope, he obviously has met him before because he recognizes him. He calls him Ben Kenobi. So there is some sort of history between Luke and Obi-Wan. We're going to find out what that exactly is. But this, to me, locks it in that we're going to see a little 10-year-old toe-headed kid running around the flats of the Junlin Wastes in Tatooine, and that really excites me. But other than that, it seems to be one of those things, especially the Queen's Gambit thing, and I'm going to let Lacey run with this, but when you see that actress being cast, it does feel like Lucasfilm is doing the pulse of the people thing, where they're like, what are people buzzing about? Who do people like? Let's bring this talent in because we want to bring in talent that people like. It gives me a little bit of that sort of vibe, very who's popular in pop culture now in the streaming world and who people are watching and that sort of thing. Because like you said, James, she doesn't have a lot under her belt, but that was a mega hit show. They're well aware of that. And they were like, wow, she's a talent. Let's pull her in. So,
out of curiosity, I know that the announcement said that it was 10 years after, or it takes place at this time or whatever. But do you think they'll make Luke 9? Because that would be a connection to Anakin being 9 when we saw him.
Yeah, so it's supposed to be 9 years after Revenge of the Sith, like 10 years before. Is that what it is? 9 years after Revenge of the Sith, 10 years before A New Hope?
I don't remember off the top of my head, but I was thinking that your analysis of a 10-year-old
10
Luke...
years after the dramatic events of Star Wars Revenge of the Sith, where Kenobi faces greatest defeat, the downfall and corruption of his best friend and Jedi apprentice.
Okay. Yeah. So, which is the same, pretty much the same as Anakin. I mean, he was 9-10 years old, so there will be parallels there, without a doubt. And they may even, if they want to get crazy with the whole memory flashback thing, they may show him and maybe have him see, young Anakin, and who knows? Yeah, he'll probably have the similar type of haircut. Mm-hmm. Hopefully, be treated better by fans than Jake Lloyd was back in '99. But yeah, again, it's tough to say what these people are gonna until you find out what their roles are. How excited you can be. But the one thing I think, which we're never gonna stop doing, is when fans just immediately assume, oh, that person's gonna be Ahsoka, that person's gonna be Satine, that person's gonna be this person. And James, you more than anybody always says, more than likely not, it's probably gonna be a new character.
Yeah, I just generally looked over everybody and I said, I bet every single one of these people are new.
And let's not forget, they could be aliens. They could be droids. Yeah. Like, who knows?
Lacey, who stuck out to you? Let's talk a little bit about some of these other people, unless, of course, it's the same people that stick out.
No, the people that stuck out to me were Moses, because she's in The Queen's Gambit, which was my favorite show, I think, in 2020 with everyone else. But I adored that show. I thought she was one of my favorite characters. She was killer. So... yeah. I don't know if she got this role because of that show, but she probably got the chance because of that show. No doubt. She probably got the ability to audition for this show. The other one that stuck out to me was Rupert Friend, only because I was like, I've seen this dude before and I can't place him because he has a very specific eyes, which is funny. We were joking about eyes earlier, but I looked him up and I was like, oh, he's Wickham from Pride and Prejudice, which he's kind of a scumbag in that movie. So I wonder if he's going to be a scumbag in this show.
Probably.
And then, everyone else, obviously returning people are great and it's exciting. I thought the first thing when I saw Joel Edgerton, I was like, John was right, because John brought this up like forever ago. But the one I'm the most excited for is Han from the Fast and Furious. Son Kang. I am so excited for him. Tokyo Drift is my favorite movie. It's been my favorite movie of the Fast and Furious franchise forever. I feel like it's one of those movies that now is like cool to like. It was not cool to like when it came out. I bought the CD. I love that movie and people made fun of me and I'm like, oh, so now you think it's cool?
It's become kind of like there's a bad piece of music, must be Nickelback. Like, it's turned into that joke because anytime anything is ever become derivative of itself. It's like, oh, they're making Mission Impossible Tokyo Drift. It's just that joke is
it's always
Tokyo
become that
Drift
joke, and it made me so angry, guys, because I love that movie. I saw it in the movie theater. I think I saw it multiple times in the movie theater. I definitely own the CD. I love that movie.
Is it good or is it like bad good?
I think it's good. I like it. I enjoyed it. I genuinely love that movie.
So I have an interesting point of view on this because before this announcement, I bought all the Fast and Furious movies, and I mentioned this on a show.
Yeah.
And I did the whole thing. I went 1, 2, 3, and I was like, okay, cool. So this is that character. All right, okay. And then, you watch 4 and 5 and 6 and 7, and you're like, okay, I get it now. I get what's interesting about the series and what's fun. And especially when I watched them in like back-to-back order, I definitely felt like I was really starting to understand the fandom of like how it's kind of soap opera-y, in the sense that like 2 years later or whatever you get the next movie and this big event happens, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I kind of wish I was paying attention.
They do a lot of callbacks
because I'm super excited for 9 now, knowing like where are they gonna go, what are they gonna do,
But I love his character, and I also, like, my best friend grew his hair out once, and he looked just like him, so I also love that character because it reminds me of my best friend. But besides that, now there's 2 Hans in Star Wars, kind of, a little bit.
I mean, and if you're going to pull, like, okay, so what's well, his name is Han Solo in Fast and Furious.
Yes,
it says it on his driver's license or whatever,
Oh, Vin Diesel, you sweet, sweet man.
But that does raise the question, like, okay, do you think we're on Tatooine? He's in the thing. Do you think he's a pod racer? Is that too representative of where he's famous?
If he was some type of racer, a pod racer, or like racing speeders, I would lose it. It would be the best moment of my life as a Star Wars fan.
I mean, it could be cool. Like, I have a feeling
he's
sometimes
just
with these
something.
Shows, I know, they're definitely gonna. If they don't do that, oh my gosh! All right, we're too stuck on this particular person. I want to talk about Benny Safdie. I also just recently watched Uncut Gems and Good Time, like near back to back. Crazy, intense movies.
I had to stop watching Uncut Gems because it gave me such anxiety that I had to stop watching it.
Yeah. And have you seen Good Time?
No.
Very similar. Good Time was the movie where people now I can't think of his name. I'm so bad with names.
Adam Sandler?
No, the Twilight guy. He's the new Batman. Robert Pattinson. That's the movie when I think people kind of turned on him and started saying, never mind, he's not the Twilight guy anymore. Like, this guy's good. Yeah. He can act. And then from there, he started, doing more roles similar to that. But, like, I think Good Time was, like, the beginning where you started to see him, like, really come up. And that's thanks to the Safdie brothers, And so I'm interested to see if, because you're I know he's an actor, but you're bringing him in. It's almost kind of like bringing in Ben Affleck or funny enough, Casey Affleck or something.
Taika Waititi acted in the
Yeah,
show,
you're bringing in someone who's like an actor, but then they're like, okay, but maybe there's a little bit more to this too, and that could lead down the line to something else. Their style doesn't seem to match Star Wars at all, but maybe they want to play in that world a little bit. You could have said the same thing for Taika
too, though.
You could have said the same thing for Rian Johnson.
Yeah. For really, that's true.
Irvin Kershner,
or
Vin Diesel,
the Acolyte, having done Russian Doll as well.
Leslie
Headland. Yeah, you're looking at that and you're like, this isn't really Star Wars, but so maybe there is something in there for the Safdie brothers. I don't know, what else you guys got? Anything else, John? That anybody here that stuck out? Any good ideas you're hearing?
No. I just hope fans don't build things up in their mind expecting certain people to play certain people.
The Moses thing. Then, everyone thinks she's Ahsoka. That was like the first thing everybody thought.
That's what I was saying. Yeah. So if this actress pops up and she plays, a Peli Motto role where it's, a very small role, I don't want to hear people like backlashing because they built something else up in their mind for
well, it
what
was
they
the
wanted her to
caption,
play.
the caption of "I get to play with lightsabers,"
Yeah,
which makes people start thinking, which could be her teasing, but at the same time, it might not be. So the first thought to me was that she was an Inquisitor.
If I was a Lucasfilm casting director, I would tell all these people to troll, and troll some more. So I would say like, oh, I guess I have to go back to mime class and learn how to act like a robot, and be like, oh, that person's gonna be a droid, and then they come out and they're a Jedi.
Yeah.
Like, just I would say like I would just troll away so that once we get through 2 rounds of that, where they're like, oh man, that whole cast trolled us hard. Oh, do you remember when that person said they were gonna be this? Then when the next projects after that come out and people start putting in their profiles or hints and stuff, they're gonna be like, we can't even put anything on this. I have no idea.
Yeah, I'm loving that Lucasfilm came straightforward with this. I think that's the biggest success here for me, is that Lucasfilm was straightforward with this.
Oh, you mean announcing the cast?
Yeah, announcing it straight out. There were no leaks, with the exception of a couple people here and there, but they were straightforward, also, like, here you go, here's who's in the show, enjoy. Because I said this before, I am not a fan of scoops and stuff anymore, like leaks.
Mm-hmm.
I want to know things when they're meant to be known. So yeah.
Yeah, I'm mixed on that because I like finding out info about productions. I don't like.
I'm saying like characters. So like, oh, so and so's playing Ahsoka. So and so.
Yeah,
like,
I don't
that
like story,
ruins
finding
the
out
story
stuff
for me.
But it is great news to hear that they're like, yep, we're rolling in a few weeks.
Yeah.
Because especially this show, there was, again, the rumor pipeline, Kenobi's in trouble, and we don't know if they got to bring in the writers, and we don't know if it's going to work out. And Ewan's like, don't worry about it. As he's like smoking a cig, he's like, it's going to be fine. And they're going to be rolling in a few weeks in SoCal, and before we know it, that's going to be in the can. And then, like we keep saying, before we know it, it's going to come and go. It's going to be gone.
So that means they're not going to be shooting Mandalorian at the same time, right?
No, so my guess is they're going to shoot Mandalorian this summer or something like that.
After Obi-Wan's done.
Yeah,
Got
probably.
It. And
if they're
and then Andor's shooting right now, but because it's in Europe, in the UK.
In UK, yeah. And Book of Boba Fett is just wrapping shooting now.
Guys,
I think
so much.
Yeah.
James is like, what?
Because Book of Boba. So this is like one of the. I don't know if it's all at the Manhattan Beach location. I assume they only have one location with the volume right now in California, in Southern California. So you got. It's almost like the passing the baton for the scheduling, where it's like and this is where the producer of Kathleen Kennedy shows her strength because she knows how to make productions work. Just Book of Boba Fett, right into Kenobi, right into Mando, just like pass that baton of productions and away they go. Now I don't know about when this stuff's coming out. A lot of people have been speculating on timeframes, but none of these things have announcements besides Book of Boba Fett. So
I wonder if Cassian's going to come out this fall then.
I don't think so. I think because they're still filming it now, usually I would think...
Because Mandalorian's timeline was that they were done by like early in the year, and then they were in post, and then over the summer they did the rest of the post, and then it was out in the fall.
Yeah, that's true, but this is the first season of that.
And they're doing it all outside too. Yeah.
And it might be longer than the Mando episodes. But so my guess would be they're going to do Book of Boba Fett to be like the fourth quarter thing. Yeah. Then start the year off strong with Andor.
Got it.
And go into Kenobi, and then bring Mandalorian back. I hope not till the fall. I mean, that would suck for 2 years.
I know. I'm gonna be wearing the season 2 shirt forever.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Weird.
Weird.
I was looking over the list, and when you said only a couple of these got leaked, well, Joel Edgerton and Bonnie Piesse, like that was not leaked. That was just a random assumption.
Assumed.
The only one that actually was like out there before was the Indira Varma, and that I think that was just somebody was probably just talking a little too loudly.
I think her agent was talking too loudly.
Yeah, something like that, and that got out there. But one other. And we don't have to stick on this at all, but like, we didn't even talk about O'Shea Jackson Jr., who was also one of the, like, you mentioned Kumail, and I was like, oh yeah, that one kind of did stick out. So did O'Shea to me. I was like, oh man, that's an odd casting because he's so associated with Ice Cube and the Straight Outta Compton role. I was like, who is this guy gonna be? I mean, but he's done comedy as well. So you're like, all right, well, there's no typecasting him at this point because he definitely plays the role that he's typecast as, but then breaks away from it pretty heavily, which is funny because it's very similar to Ice Cube's career as well, where it's like Ice Cube's NWA, and then he goes and does like,
CSI.
No, I'm like Road Trip, like
total
pure
I've been watching
family
Criminal
comedies
Minds.
and stuff. Or like
Stop.
what's the Jump Street stuff,
Jump
also?
Street, like 21 Jump Street. Yeah.
All I'll say is this real quick, like, because I'm thinking about, I try to make connections from past examples, and like history does repeat itself. But like when Ming-Na Wen was announced to be in The Mandalorian, and she shows up and she gets killed.
I knew she wasn't dead. I said that to you guys forever.
And everyone, like, yeah, you did. But I mean, everyone flipped out and they're like, oh, Jon Favreau just wasted such a great talent and stuff. Like, one, let these shows play out. And two, like, these people signed on for these roles because they wanted these roles. So don't build up who this person you thought was going to be Ahsoka or this person's supposed to be an Inquisitor. Like, speculate all you want and have fun. That's what we do here. But like, when this stuff comes out, don't start like throwing your daggers because it wasn't what you thought it was going to be. So let's just try to like enjoy the ride, because like I said, this show's going to come and go so darn quick, and we wanted it for so long. So like, just let it slow burn and let's enjoy our ride to Kenobi.
Well, speaking of things that aren't happening.
Yeah, I was going to say, we went through all of this casting, and after that was announced, people were talking about who else is going to show up in the show, and Ahmed Best was kind of called out on Twitter, and he clarified very, very big, like tweeted it out, quote tweeted the person, and said, I would love to be a part of this, but I'm absolutely not. So I'm just ending that here and there. I'm not a part of the Obi-Wan series. I don't know if you guys have anything to say to that, but it was kind of a footnote to this as well. It's not like a huge story, but we do know, since that it was covered long ago, about the whole thing with like him having a beard and all this other stuff, that we're getting it from the horse's mouth here, that he's not showing up. So I don't know if you have anything to say.
Believe him.
Yeah, I believe
there's
it
no
too.
reason for him to lie about it. So I don't think he's done with Star Wars by any stretch. They've understood what a redemption he's had with fans, from little kids who grew up loving him, who still love him, to people who came around to him like myself, or people who were even nasty to him that said, wow, I can't believe what this guy went through. We had no idea.
I read an article, by the way, on the internet. Someone put a screenshot of an old article from Newsweek before Star Wars came out that was like making the rounds, and it was like the terrible things we're saying about Jake Lloyd before the movie even came out. They were like, this kid sucks.
Yeah.
I was like, he's like 9. Oh my goodness.
So aside from the game show he did, which I don't think is coming back, I think they'll find a spot for him one day. And you know what? I don't think it will be Jar Jar necessarily, but I think he'll be in the Star Wars family for a while. He's still pretty young in perspective. So I think
he's already another canon character as well. You know what I mean? And we know so many other people have played more than one character in Star Wars because they can just kind of bury him behind. I mean, it's not like we've really... Oh, actually, he's 3 characters in Star Wars now that I think about it, because he played a cameo.
He's the guy in
the bar or whatever, yeah.
Who's related
Ahmed
to the
Beck.
game show guy.
yeah. All right, let's move on to our next big story, which was actually that we got a new trailer for The Bad Batch coming up here. Now, this show is going to be launched on May the 4th. And there was we got the new trailer and a new poster as well, if we want to talk a little bit about that, because it looked pretty cool. But another big thing that came out of this was that the first episode, the big launch of this, was going to be 70 minutes long. So, I mean, full-length feature films are 40 minutes. So you are getting an animated feature, basically, to kick this thing off. Lacey, what do you think about the Bad Batch trailer? What do you think?
I'm not gonna lie, I'm not one of those people that's like, yeah, Bad Batch. Like, it's just not my cup of tea, but I love that people are pumped about it, and I'm excited for those people to get the show that they're wanting to get. I think that's what's one of the best things about the Star Wars fandom, is you could like this but not this, and you could be a huge fan of one thing like we are of Solo, and then maybe you don't like Solo. This is kind of one of those things. Like, I'm probably going to check it out, especially the first episode, because it comes out on May the 4th. And like James says, it's 70 minutes, which is bananas to me that this show, the first episode is 70 minutes. It makes me wonder what the next episodes are going to be. But the poster was beautiful. I really loved the poster. It had this like kind of like sunset, sunrise, purpley, reddish background with the guys on the bottom. And it was just really nicely done. But yeah, I mean, people are pumped. I'm pumped for them. And I just can't wait for what's next after this, because I'm sure this isn't the last animated feature they're going to do.
Yeah, I think that could be really cool. Just by the way, like side note is actually them being like, we're doing an animated feature. Yeah. Just like we're not doing a whole show. Like we get show announcements all the time. We're like, cool, it's another animated show. That's neat. But like, it would be kind of cool if they were like, no, it's just this one-time 2-hour, very similar to like DC films or something, like an animated.
Oh, I was excited to see Fennec Shand. That was the most exciting thing for me, to see her in the trailer and hear Ming-Na's voice. I was pumped about. And then everybody was going crazy about Rex, because everybody loves Rex. But yeah, no, Fennec was my favorite part. Fennec Shand.
John, anything pop out to you in this trailer? Familiar faces?
Yeah, it made me more excited for Bad Batch. I love Steven Stanton. He's a great guy, a good friend, and he's coming back as Tarkin, which he is a huge Peter Cushing fan, so I'm very happy he gets to come back and play and honor Peter Cushing by playing Tarkin again. I like that we are creeping the Clone Wars era closer to the Galactic Empire as a formed thing. I think that's going to be an interesting aesthetic to take a look at. And I like the A-Team kind of vibe that these guys put out. I was an A-Team fan growing up, watching those old shows, and I think that they could put some good Saturday morning cartoons vibes behind that, while also doing some lore stuff as well. Which brings me to my next point. We're not sure what type of writing we're going to get with this, because you have Jennifer Corbett writing it, who, as far as Star Wars goes, just written a handful of episodes of Resistance, which wasn't necessarily a favorite of mine, more on the kiddier side of things, but maybe that's what they're going for, more of that Saturday morning cartoon adventure as opposed to the lore dives of a Dave Filoni.
It looks like there's a huge child lead now as well.
Yes, yeah, and that's a lot of speculating going on with that. Now, Filoni is producing and overseeing it, but I don't expect vintage Filoni out of this series, because he hasn't done any writing for it. I think they're doing the smart thing by overlaying his name on it. I know he is part of the production of it in terms of executive producing, but that's also it carries a lot of weight to put Dave Filoni's name on a Star Wars animated thing at this point, so that might be worth its weight in gold in itself. But yeah, I want to hear your thoughts on the child thing, because what I've seen from a lot of people speculating is that it's supposed to be one of it might be one of Palpatine's clones or something like that, which opens up a whole can of worms. I mean, the whole wild thing that this whole thing could tie to the sequels and beyond. But it's sparking debate and discussion, which I find interesting for a show that a lot of people were just like, oh, cool, we're getting one more animated thing with the clones. That's fun. But now people are like, oh, antennas go up. What is this? And I kind of like that.
I mean, off the top, I don't think it's a Palpatine clone. I would imagine that with the name Omega, which we picked up from the closed captioning, is just that it's a symbolism for the final clone. Like they got the order to stop making clones now that the war is over. Because we kind of know that from lore that they moved from the clones to
Is he
soldiers.
Literally the final order?
Maybe, yeah. No, but yeah, it could be the last clone. And I don't know. There's some other speculation that's going around, and I'm down with watching the trailers and speculating and stuff. But I'm starting to think that there's some stuff that people are putting together that I'm like, oh, that's probably right. I don't really want to talk about it on the show because I feel like it gets into like spoiling. Like I did this for Falcon and Winter Soldier. I watched like a video that's like, okay, episode 1's out. Let's dive in and see if we can figure out what this show. And after I watched it, I was like, oh, that's probably right. You know, based on the comics and stuff. So I'm like, I should probably not watch these like recaps and stuff because people are too good. They're gonna figure it out.
Right.
But in this particular case, if you guys know if you look at leaks and not leaks, but like news and analytics of not analytics either. What am I talking about here? But analyzing the footage that we see and stuff. You might know what I'm talking about, but I don't want to spoil anything. But I think it could be interesting. The direction that the show goes as far as the era that we're in, where you have people having to make their choice between the Empire and what was the Republic, So I don't know. It's kind of
right.
It's cool, and I'm excited for it. I know that I reached out to my friend Oshi from Beartooth, and he was talking to me how excited he was for Bad Batch. So I was like, sweet, all right, man, maybe we'll talk some Bad Batch coming up here soon.
And it's still, this was an idea of George Lucas's too. Mm-hmm. So it's again one of those final ties to the maker.
Yeah,
that's pretty cool.
Absolutely. I want to talk a little bit about Erin Kellyman. Right now, she's doing the rounds because of what I was just talking about, Falcon and Winter Soldier. She is one of the main characters in that. And she is doing some publicity for it. And she's been asked a couple times about playing Enfys Nest again. And she said yes. She is very interested in coming back to the character. I know that makes our ears pop up, but I wanted to ask you guys what you thought about that. Lacey, what are your thoughts on Erin Kellyman wanting to return to the character?
I would love for Erin to return. We're big fans of Solo here, like I said earlier, so it would be great to see her again. I would be cool if she showed up in other things, whether it be Andor or any other show that might happen in the future. However, I'd really love to see her show up in Solo just because she has that connection to Han, and what if he gets involved with something with her again where he's helping her and it shows the good side for Han Solo. But I mean, at Celebration in 2019, she was on the stage and she had basically let it slip that like this was supposed to be the first in a series. Yeah. And then she's doing these interviews now where she's like, oh, I didn't know of any other future projects or anything for Solo or for the character. And I'm like, okay, but you legit said on
that.
camera.
She straight up was like,
I forgot about that too.
When we did the first one and everybody's like,
yeah, she was, yeah. She was like, so this was supposed to be the first in a series. And I watched the clip and that's exactly what she said. So my thought is, yes, series. She knows there's more for the character. Yeah. We know there's more for the character. John Kasdan knows there's more for the character. So I'm all for it. And I've been watching Falcon and Winter Soldier and she's once again killing it. She steals the scenes that she's in. She proves
when does she show up? I've only seen the first episode.
She shows up in a little bit in episode 1, but mostly episode 2. Is where she like really shines.
I mean, if she shows up in episode 1, she's like behind a mask or something.
It's
not
I don't remember seeing her.
Yeah, you see her in episode 2.
Oh, okay.
Which at this time, episode 3 has come out, and I'm sure you've seen more of her. But yeah, she's just so wonderful and so great. And her character is one of the coolest characters in Solo, if not in Star Wars, that I would love to see her have the chance to play it again. So what are you waiting for?
Yeah, I was pretty excited. I remember there was a trailer that came out for Solo, and I had to I did the thing where I had to watch it for Star Wars Newsnet, but I talked to my friend and he was like, should I watch it? And I remember I was like, the only thing that's kind of spoilery is that we hear Enfys Nest's voice. It was like we were in that territory of details that like could potentially be spoilery, and I was like, you hear the voice. I don't know whether to tell you it's like, what it sounds like because you might want to hear it in the movie for the first time. But
that was when they put out the Savarine clip. Beckett, you must have known you'd see me again, like that whole thing.
I think so. Yeah, it was I think it was just like a one-liner or something. But
because I don't think she was in any of the trailers in terms of vocalization.
No.
So I think it was when they released that clip as like a promo.
Especially because I'm the idiot that thought it was Val.
Maybe. I think it was a trailer though, John, what I was talking about. You think it was a clip? Maybe. I don't know. But yeah, maybe. Anything else about Erin Kellyman before we move on?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, she's an absolute sweetheart. It's hard not to love her and want to root for her to be in everything. Mm-hmm. But because she has this real, unless she's just a really good actor, she has this real humbleness to her that is so charming, that comes across in all these interviews. But the one thing, when she was asked by several people, including Jake Hamilton, whose version of the interview rounds we covered, he's like, he's like, let me know. He's like, I tried to ask about Solo. And she's like, no, I haven't heard anything about more Solo. It's sad, but maybe it's a good thing having just that one movie and leaving it to rest. Which
Prime
I'm going to disagree
example of
with
the
her.
tweet, this you. And it's her being like, well, it's the first in a series.
Yeah.
I'm
but
just kidding.
I'm going to disagree with her sentiment there, of course, that maybe they should just leave it there. But at the same time, there could have been plans for Enfys Nest with other things, and who knows, she could pop up in Andor and be pulling the wool over our eyes.
Yeah.
And Han and Chewie can go over here and do this, because Kasdan's thing was more the focus on the crime syndicates.
Right.
And Enfys Nest's focus was on the rebellion against the Empire. So she got what she needed, and her part being connected to the crime syndicates was pretty much over. She got the coaxium, and away she goes to go start the rebellion.
Right.
Where John Kasdan's story had to do with the fight now between the syndicates over that money lost, and with bringing Jabba in and that sort of thing. So it's possible they didn't tell her, like, yeah, we're going to be continuing more, but it's obvious that there were plans to continue with Han and Chewie. So, but I would love to see more Enfys Nest, because I feel like we got just enough to really like her as a character and that whole Cloud Rider gang. So, and it would be another excuse to see Warwick Davis back in the saddle. So, I would love to see her show up in some way. And I think, Roots of the Rebellion and Andor would make a lot of sense. So I hope they make that connection. We'll see. But she's still very young. And I think I think I would lean towards more than not that we'll see her, because they pay attention to the fans. And, Make Solo 2 happen aside, they know how much fans liked her and that character. And I think it'd be a real waste to have just used her for that setup in Solo.
She is
and do
Enfys
nothing
best.
with it, so she is, and she said she would Enfys absolutely yes would come back. So
yeah, I was trying to look to see if she was ever a Fulcrum agent, which I don't think she ever was. Enfys Nest, the character, but Ahsoka and Cassian and even Callus at one point was a Fulcrum character. But if you know anything about the lore, that was someone who was kind of owning a specific region of the galaxy and was just kind of like handing information and kind of taking care of the rebellion within a certain sector. And it seems like Enfys Nest would be that. So saying something like her showing up in Andor is smart, because it seems like those characters would probably be heavily involved in handing off information, and Enfys Nest and her crew of people being like, yeah, we'll take care of it. We'll get you what you need out of this particular sector. So I don't know. Pretty interesting. But that's that's pretty much it. There are a couple other things that we wanted to touch on really quick. There are some new aerial photos revealed from the UK set of Star Wars Andor. I don't know how people get these things. You'd think like, someone with a shotgun would shoot down the drone that was taking these pictures or something like that. But yeah, if you want to check it out, yeah, you can zoom in.
Drone.
You can zoom in, see what's going on. I don't know if it's like a meeting for the set or if there's like a fight in the middle of the streets, but you can check that out if you want to get a little bit of look behind the scenes. There was a new book announced, and when I say book, it's not a book at all. It's actually an audio drama similar to the Afra series and the Cavan, the Count Dooku book. So if you liked those, they're doing a new one, and this one is going to take place in the High Republic era, and it's the Tempest runner. Cavan Scott is doing the book, and it's going to follow the villainous Lorna D, who is one of the Tempest runners of the Nile. So look forward to that.
Did they have a cast or anything on that yet?
No, I don't think so.
They didn't. Yeah. They just the story's been released.
Yep, just the story and cover not final.
Right. Yeah.
One other thing is, in honor of Trans Day of Visibility, Lucasfilm revealed a exclusive look at a special variant cover of Star Wars: The High Republic #6, which featured a pair of trans non-binary Jedi who are both featured in that comic series, and they wanted to give a little bit of highlight to the representation that is going to be a new precedent in Star Wars, and they wanted to make it very clear specifically on this day. So we celebrate that, and that is pretty much it for the news that happened this week. So what's up next?
Well, guys, it's time for the Patreon pod race. So there are lots of ways you can support us. You can like this comment. I say that every time. Like this video, comment, or subscribe.
Like this comment. That's the thing.
Subscribe.
Subscribe to the video on YouTube. You can follow us on all the audio platforms, Spotify, which is our favorite, Apple Podcasts, etc. You can follow us on Twitter at RBATSWNN or on Instagram at The Resistance Broadcast. If you want more of us, including exclusive content, mailings, Discord access, and more, you can head over to patreon.com/resistancebroadcast. Starting at $2 a month and going up in the tiers, you get more access, more cool stuff, and you support what we're doing and what we plan to do this year and beyond. So that being said, this part of the show allows our generals to take part in the show where we ask them a question and then they give us a cool answer and we talk about it. But before I get into it, I'm going to thank our current generals. So thank you guys. It would be, and I'm taking a big breath here, Carmelo, Andrew Staley, Jeremy Myers, Neil Shaw, David Probus, John Reese, Micah Harrison, Jetta Rosewater, Michael Gaines, Beerfet Bethany, Kendall Gelnar, Paul Olson, Jake Houchins, Jeff Connery, Oliver Lewis, Dave Hornack, Frank Grande, Ryan Wara, and Val Trichkoff. Thank you guys so much. We appreciate your support and everything that we're doing. We have such cool stuff coming up. I don't want to spoil it, but it's like really cool. So get ready.
Shut your trap.
What?
What?
What'd you say?
In a very gangster voice, I said, "Shut your trap."
Oh, nice. Which, by the way, just because you did an accent just there, I get messages all the time, and we do, about how everyone liked our Darth Maul, Harley Quinn, mobster quote stuff.
Oh, I forgot about that.
We got to do more of that.
I don't even know what you're talking about.
We did. John and I went on this rant one time where we were just doing all these Star Wars lines in different voices.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway.
Oh, different accents, you mean?
Yeah. Different accents.
I think I vaguely remember that. Yeah.
You were doing Darth Maul in a voice that you just did basically, and you were like, "Now we will have our revenge."
Oh yeah, it was like a New Jersey mobster.
We'll have to do that again. Yeah. Anyway, the question this week was first of all, Commander Melo, or not Commander, General Melo.
General Melo.
I'm all thrown off.
General
Melo. Melo, how are you doing? Hope you are well. In España. His question was, besides Ewan McGregor, Hayden Christensen, Joel Edgerton, and Bonnie Piesse, which newly announced cast member are you most excited about joining the Kenobi series? Take it away, Melo.
Hello guys, and greetings from España. First thing I want to say, I'm sorry for the wind. Here in southern Spain, the wind pickups like crazy all the time, so I'm doing my best. Second, I'm sorry I've been so busy and disappeared from the chat, but I've been extremely busy with work and school. However, I do have to make time for my family, and you guys are part of my family. Okay, the question. Indira Varma. Oh my god, I'm so excited to see her. I love her in Game of Thrones. I think they did her dirty because there's the wind. Because they cut a lot of scenes from Dorne. Actually in the books they have more Dorne than in the show, but that's not important right now. But I'm really excited to see her. She's a fantastic actress. Every time she acts, so much emotion, raw passion. I love her. Well, that's all I have. Hope you guys are well. Viva la Resistance.
Melo, great job. It's great to see you. We hope you're doing well. We miss you here in the States. John, what did you think of his answer?
It's so windy here in the base, Melo. Jeez, you brought the wind right to the podcast, buddy. No, I like your answer because I'm a Game of Thrones fan. So, great pick there with Indira Varma.
How dare you not pick Han?
Yeah, no, he makes a good point that she may not have the biggest roles all the time, but when she's on screen, you pay attention, and she does a great job. So I like that pick a lot. And dude, our longest general, you're just a stalwart. So I know you're always like, yeah, sorry, I'm busy. I'm not always in the chats and stuff. When you show up, it's a celebration, buddy. So, and speaking of celebration, it's a far away, but you and I are gonna have a good time over some drinks at Celebration. I can't wait to see you. But thanks for your longtime support, your continued support. Hope you and the family are well, and great job, bud.
James?
Yeah, Melo, this your answer was a little long-winded, but it blew me away. It was really
You guys.
The funny thing about Melo's pod race is probably more than anybody is I feel like all the other generals, they answer the question as if they know they're going to be on the show, and Melo always speaks directly to us. It's like it doesn't have anything to do. It's so personal because he's our longest running general, and it's really cool because I always feel like the video is like a video that he sent me on the Messages app or something.
On our phone,
like he texted it to me or something. We love having you, Melo. Good answer. I don't know Indira Varma, but I am excited to learn more about her. So I'm glad that you are excited for her appearance. Great job.
Yeah, great answer, Melo. You are so missed. I love hearing you say "Viva la Restance." I love it. So keep saying that.
Yes.
I enjoy it. And we miss you. Did I say that yet? We miss you. Okay, back to John. Bye.
We got to bring that shirt back, by the way.
We should.
It's a good shirt. The Viva la Resistance shirt.
Oh.
Anyway.
Oh, yeah.
Now to the rest of the community.
I was thinking we should make a shirt, and you're like, we already have one.
We already have one.
Yeah.
That's how long we've been doing this.
Yeah.
All right, it's time for Ask the Resistance. Let's get into it right now.
I've been wondering, what are midichlorians?
So typically we put out a tweet asking for questions, or sometimes you just fire away using hashtag Ask the Resistance. Either way, we love your contribution to the show because it brings different perspectives, different thoughts, different ideas, a lot of things we don't think about all the time, and it helps fuel some new conversations. So let's do that right now. The first one is coming from Kyle Baker.
I'm sorry, who is
Kyle? Kyle Baker.
Kyle.
He asked, do you think we will see Cobb Vanth in the Book of Boba Fett? Interesting. He gave Boba Fett his armor back, so who knows? Lacey, what do you think?
Hey, Kale. How's it going? You know what's funny? I didn't even think about this. There's just been a lot of speculation for other things moving forward, like Obi-Wan, Andor, even Mandalorian Season 3, like where are they going to go, that I haven't really gotten into the speculative, what does it mean, the Book of Boba Fett, and where are we going to go with that? I'm sure we will once we get a little closer, but right now they're kind of just working on it. So, first of all, you have a great question, because I didn't even consider this. I think he could. He's on Tatooine. It makes sense. Why wouldn't he? And everyone loved his character. He was like everywhere for probably 3 weeks. They sell cardboard cutouts of it. So I'm going to say yes.
All right. Cobb Vanth coming back. Order a couple shots of spatchka.
Just to throw that out there too, my opinion on that, I hadn't thought about that, but that is a really good question and very likely, considering he was he's like the marshal of that area that's probably trying to protect people, and then you got Boba Fett who's probably trying to hurt people, and there's they both wore the armor, they don't know each other, but it's their armor. I don't know.
And then that dynamic of he's had his armor this whole time and Boba Fett's angry about it.
Cobb Vanth could be a setup for a Book of Boba Fett character. Yeah.
I'd love that.
That could be cool. I like Timothy Oliphant. So he just got they're bringing back Justified, his show Justified too, I heard. So yeah.
Wow.
Bring him back in The Girl Next Door too.
Are they making a sequel to that? Is that real? No. The movie came out.
Make Girl Next Door 2 happen.
Yeah, it's like the granny next door at this point. No offense to whatever her name is.
Alicia Cuthbert. Is that her name?
Is that her name?
Yeah.
I think that is her name.
24.
Yeah. All right. Jake Houchins
I can't remember Seth Rogen's name.
But you got
I know,
Alicia Cuthbert.
But her.
Yeah. All right.
All right. Jake Houchins, what is up, Jake? Wrote, do you think we will ever get the Alphabet Squadron characters in another form of media like video games or animated series? James, you're a huge Alphabet Squadron person, so.
Yeah. I saw this question earlier and I started thinking about it and I was like, man, you know what? The likely answer is yes, but my heart says no. And I think the reason that is because, well, number one, we kind of know their beginnings, like where they came from and how they got put together, what they were doing during the time of the 3 novels, and then like where they ended up. So it kind of just makes me think there really wasn't anybody in there that's like totally you would expect to see elsewhere. When they were a core and when they were a group, they were always together, and then they kind of just like weren't. Now, that not being said, that some of these characters haven't already shown up in like comics and stuff, but those were really tie-ins with Alphabet Squadron. So you know, those were the TIE Fighter comics and stuff. I kind of don't think so. I don't think we're going to see them in a video game unless there's like an expansion that they decide to kind of play a little bit in. Man, now I can't think of the game.
Jedi Fallen
Squadrons. Order? No, Squadrons. Oh. Unless there's a Squadrons expansion and they decide to maybe bring in like a mission with Alphabet Squadron or something like that. That could be neat. But I really don't think you're ever going to see them as like the main characters in any, or even like one character shows up in an animated series that takes place at the same time. I just don't think it's very likely. Sorry.
Interesting. We may have broke some hearts. But logical answer. All right. Christian Morales is rounding it out here. Will the Rogue Squadron movie have an alien as one of its main protagonists? What's up, Christian? How you doing, man? I'm going to say no, because I feel Star Wars is a very human story with crazy environments around it. And I know we've had impactful characters of different species in Star Wars, but in terms of main protagonists, I think they're going to stick with humans to keep that, really human thematics of storytelling. And I don't know, it'd be hard to market something where like, yeah, our lead, and this is a Rhodian or something. Like, I don't know, that'd be tough for them to do in Star Wars. My adage is until they do something, I don't think they will. So I'm going to say no. I don't think that Rogue Squadron will. I don't think any Star Wars movie anyway will have a main protagonist be a non-human. That's my...
Do you not consider like Chewie and K2 like main protagonists? No,
I think he means like your Rey, your Luke, your main lead like protagonist. That's what I think he means. Not like supporting characters. But yeah, I mean, who knows? I could be wrong one day, and I'm sure I'd like what they do, but that's my guess there. All right, so that is that. Thanks everybody for your questions. Thanks for being a part of the Resistance. Thanks for getting us going with all different types of topics there at the end. We love that. Make sure you do subscribe to the show. Lacey touched on that earlier. All of your podcast apps, YouTube, if you'd like, youtube.com/Star Wars Newsnet videos. Make sure you do catch the show on Thursday, because we have a call to action we're putting out there for you to become a part of Make Solo 2 Happen Day 2021 in a big way. So look for those instructions at the top of the show on Thursday. We're not going to make you go digging for it. It's right at the top of the show. StarWarsNewsNet.com for all of your Star Wars news, reviews, editorials, information, and more. All of our news stories from today came from our site, StarWarsNewsNet.com. You can find me on Twitter at Johnny Hoey, and writing and editing over at StarWarsNewsNet.com. And my movie podcast, Just Like the Movies. We just did an episode on Who Framed Roger Rabbit, so go check us out on all your favorite podcast apps.
It features a cow because it's called Just Like the Movies.
Just Like the Movies. Yeah, we're sponsored by Guida Milk now, so I have to get that plug in there.
Do you guys remember the chocolate milk commercial that was like light milk or whatever, and it had like a skinny cow, and it was like moo, like it was like
no.
Yes, I do remember that. I think yeah,
it would like turn sideways and it was really skinny, and it's like moo, like it's really lightweight. You guys can find me talking about old commercials on Twitter and Instagram at Myra Trunks.
Lacey.
You guys can find me flipping out if on Friday they announce the yellow lightsaber for Rey at the Hasbro Fan Fest at Lacey Gillerin on Twitter and Instagram. Also freaking out because John makes his debut on the Schmodown.
Oh, that's right. I better study. Holy cow.
Maybe we'll have to do a watch along.
On Friday, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, my match is on Friday, entering the ring in the Schmodown.
Schmodown. Anyway, you can find me there. Yeah. Have a good day.
That's exciting.
Love you guys.
Yes, and on Thursday, we are going to talk about a little bit more on the Kenobi stuff, but a little twist on the flip side of things, because we're always talking about Kenobi and the good guys and that sort of thing, but we're going to speculate, especially off the heels of that Bad Batch trailer, how much of a presence is the Empire going to have in the Obi-Wan Kenobi series? So we're going to talk about that. Obviously we have Vader, but who else is going to show up in that thing? And what kind of presence is the Empire going to have? So that should be a fun discussion on Thursday. But enjoy your weeks until then. And we will see you next time right here on the Resistance broadcast. We'll see you around, kids.